Not too young to run, they say, but is the reality really that? Well, let's have this conversation, this all-important conversation with three vibrant young persons. Right here in our studio, we have Victor Anilaju, who's a former member, Social Democratic Party. Good morning.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. We have joining us from our Abuja studio as well, Uche Okonkwo, who's a member of APGA. Good morning, Mr. Okonkwo. And joining us virtually via Zoom is Hamzat Lawal, good morning, who is a founder, Connected Development Code, joins us via Zoom this morning. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the program. So, I mean, we'll just listen to Samson Itodo speaking in 2018. In fact, some months before that, the Not Too Young to Run movement, as it were, visited the president, where he made a statement. He asked the young people to wait until after 2019 before they run. And I'd like to begin with Hamzat, because recently I know that you, well, do I say threw your heart into the ring, but you declared that you're entering into partisan politics. Is that to say that now is a time for young people?
Well, building up on the Not Too Young to Run movement and how we ran an effective campaign to amend Nigeria's constitution to reduce the age to run for office. Building up on that, it has shown that it is youth o'clock. It is time for young people not only to run, but it's time for young people to lead. And for us, we say we want to see leadership with empathy, leadership that takes decisions that affect various constituency. And we want to see more young people with capacity, with competence and credibility who have built track record over the years. So yes, now is the time for young people. And I'm really excited that when you look at people who have thrown their hearts into the ring, both presidential, gubernatorial, and even legislative, both state and federal, we're seeing a lot of younger people who have built credibility over time and have track record. They have visible track record, have done well in businesses, in entrepreneurship, have done well in the civic technology space, even entertainment industry. We've seen a lot of people from entertainment industry coming into politics. And yes, at my 35th birthday symposium, I said I was going to play partisan politics because in Nigeria today, politics actually decides everything. And we can no longer choose to be on the sideline. We cannot sit on the fence. We take a position, as young people. And the fact that we're taking position does not mean we would run. Some people would run, some people would not run, but some people would support a candidate. And for me, I'm committed to supporting a presidential candidate with 50 million votes. And I speak to you right now, I speak from the ground here in the Northeast, mobilizing and organizing young people ahead of 2023 election. And this is the time for young people to decide, and we're ready.
So there'll always be questions about the game plan. And in fact, eventually we'll talk about some statements made about, the view of how young people are approaching 2023. But I'd like to know from your own perspective, before I come to our other guests, have you joined a political party now that you're in partisan politics? How do you plan to go about this?
I knew this question would come when I have decided, because right now there's a lot of consultation and a lot of conversation ongoing. When I decide, I would come public, the same way I came public and say I would play partisan politics. I would come public and tell the Nigerian people, the political party. If and when I decide to run, I would come public again to tell the Nigerian people what office I'm running for. And I would hope that I get their support to win and to serve under any platform of my choice, as guaranteed by Nigeria's constitution.
Right. So let's go to Mr. Okonkwo in our Abuja studio. He's a member of a political party. And from that perspective, I would like to pick it up with you. How should young people go about this, achieving this, not just not too young to run, but at least not too young to lead eventually? You're a member of a political party. Must you join a political party? Can you stay on the sidelines? Can you do it from Twitter? How do young people need to go about this?
Thank you very much for that question. There is no particular way to say that the youths should be able to go about getting involved in the political arena. You mentioned about joining political parties. Of course, if you have intention to run, like myself, being an aspirant of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, running for Federal House of Representatives, Demili North and South, I have to look into the perspective of what political party would be able to give me that reach, give me that engagement possibilities, and also seem dynamic, to those that are also other aspirants. And of course, we saw from the gubernatorial election with the victory of Professor Chukwuma Soludo and the support in which we gave him, that APCA was able to bring itself to prominence against other parties. So it was a good choice. So that choice came from consultation. But if you also look at avenues of social media, a lot of young people get involved on Twitter, on Facebook by promoting their preferred candidates, by promoting other aspirants, by promoting those in which they feel are able or should be given the opportunity to lead. And that's an avenue that can go a long way because, of course, we're in the 21st century, we're in the social media era. A lot of people get to look towards social media for knowledge, for information, and that helps to pass this information along and spread the awareness to others. Also, when you look at the political arena, a lot of people, especially those that have been in it, usually put together groups, support groups, put together ways of raising funds for candidates or for aspirants, and that can help as well because, of course, it's not an easy feat to run for a political position in Nigeria, but nonetheless, whatever support that can come, from the youths, it makes it more resonating to others that yes, the youths are very much interested in having a voice in government and also having a voice in how things play out within our nation.
So let's bring this to our Lagos studio, Mr. Nilaji, and get your opening comment. So you were former member of the Social Democratic Party, and it's been said time and again that political parties in Nigeria don't quite give enough room for young people to soar, as it were. Yes, they have the youth leader, but they say that's the best you get. In fact, sometimes you see youth leaders that are not youths in court. But you go on social media and you see that the same young people actually campaign for those political parties, those candidates that they say aren't young people. So really, young people have that power. So is it a question of whether they're using that power that they have or they want that power to be given to them?
Okay, so Coyote, thank you. Ayo, thank you for having me in the studio today. Where do we start from? Let's take it from what is currently happening right now in Nigeria, right? We are faced with insecurity. We are faced with election coming next year, February. We are faced with unemployment. We are faced with hunger. We are faced with youths that are even trying to live to see 2023. And we are faced with some old politicians that have been in the center of politics in Nigeria for the past 20, 40, 60 years. Actually, the truth is, it's now for us as the young generation. This year, I'll be 40. So I believe and we know that we should start having leaders between the age of 50, 40s, and 30s to lead Nigeria because of the current challenges that we are facing. Insecurity. You cannot ask an old man to solve a security challenge. It takes idea, it takes intellect, it takes innovation to solve security challenge. Let me give you some information that will blow your mind. Nigeria, as we speak today, landmarks, we are 923,769 kilometers wide. We have over 211 million people, but we have police of 370,000 officers, which is less than that. That means you are asking one police officer to cover one local government, which is not possible in any form, no matter if you have the atomic bomb or missile. It would take a younger brain that understands mathematics to solve the dynamics of Nigerian problem. We're not saying let the young people lead because it's our time. No.
Is the solution to Nigeria's problem mathematics?
If the solution to the Nigerian problem...
I'm asking, is the solution to Nigeria's problem mathematics?
You have to bring it into 1 + 1 to give you 2. I just gave you a clear-cut statistics that tells you that as of today, over 3 million Nigerians died from hunger every week. What do you need to do? And our problem is not food shortage. Our problem is food wastage. An old man doesn't know this.
Can you repeat that statistics just again?
3 million Nigerians die every week from hunger.
Where did you get that from?
So we have been doing our own research, and we even find out that there are some things that if you check some of the international, like UN, their statistics, you will find out that it's not even in our own data. And we find out that there's an intention to cover up some shortcomings of our political leaders in Nigeria.
Pardon me, Mr. Nilaji. So you say that that figure which you put is not our own data? Is it from the UNICEF? Is it from...
It's our own
FAO?
data. That's what I'm saying. It's our own data, but it is not found in the Nigerian system. We have done our own research. I've been in this process. Like you know, I've declared to run for the office of the president. For like 10 years, we're doing our own internal research.
Because if 3 million people die, Nigerians die every week, it's only a matter of time before all Nigerians die.
You should ask, what is the birth rate?
So tell me, what is the birth
No,
rate?
you
Weekly?
you should ask.
Because our population is, I mean, estimates. Some say 160 million.
It's not 160.
Some say 200
as of
million.
today, is 211 million.
Whose figure?
Whose figure?
Whose figure is that?
Whose
figure is 211 million?
Check UN. Just Google it. Population of Nigeria.
Well, that is also, every data right now is
Estimates,
contestable for only one reason. We haven't had a census in how many years now?
Since 2006.
And this is something that we are thinking to go on this year. But, you know, that's not the conversation. Let me
yes, that's not the conversation.
We'll come to other issues.
This is where I'm going to.
We'll come to other issues.
I said that
Mr.
to let
Nilaju.
you know now. Sir, please don't let me learn. Because some people are misquoting it. They feel that we are coming in because we are entitled to. No, it is the challenge, the problem.
Okay.
If our leaders are doing well, I want to be a business person, simple. And that's what I've been for the past 25 years. The reason why I declared to run for the office of the president is because I want to solve the problems.
Okay.
The political issue is affecting my business.
Okay. Let me ask Hamza. You know, a number of, what do I call it now, hurdles are there for young people to cross to be able to achieve this. And this is a conversation we're very interested in because it's about time. I've been hearing Children Are Leaders of Tomorrow since the 70s. And I still remember that song, but I've forgotten the name of it. I think it was Tosin Jegede who sang that song maybe in the 80s. Parents, listen to your children. They are the leaders of tomorrow, and it will seem like, who is listening to them now? So the question that I would like to ask you is around mentorship. There are those who believe that in order for young people to take the nation in their hands, they need mentorship. And the questions have been asked on this program several times, how that mechanism will come into place for young people to receive the kind of leadership mentoring that is needed to govern the complexities of Nigeria.
So for me, I've always advocated for intergenerational equity and dialogue. I'm not for, oh, let's retire all the older people, because come to think of it, you can't take it away from the older people. They have knowledge and experience on hand. And they've played politics for a long time. Some of them are even first or second Republican politician. So for me, let's have intergenerational dialogue, and maybe we can take a cue from mentorship, from businesses and entrepreneurship. And in politics, yes, they don't call it mentorship, they call it godfatherism. I think it's also open for debate if godfatherism is good or it's not good. But I think for me, one experience and example I've really enjoyed over the years is, learning directly from someone like Malam Nuhu Ribadu, who is the pioneer chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Because I have been availed to resources under him. I've enjoyed his time and his mentorship and guidance with my work with Follow the Money. Yes, in politics, we need those kind of mentorship, particularly let it even be much more for women, because we know women face so many barriers to break through in politics and to climb through the ladder. So yes, mentorship is key, but what is more important is intergenerational dialogue, intergenerational equity, where older politicians will see younger politicians as partners towards progress, where they can stand side by side, shoulder to shoulder, to move Nigeria forward and see young people bringing a value, to this political change and the changes we want to see. And we also recognize the role of older politicians in transferring knowledge, knowledge that are useful to us. And then we bring in skill, bring in, a mass number of people to galvanize the kind of action we want to see. Because you need mass mobilization of people to actually get things moving and things working in Nigeria. When you look at all the social vices, every hand must be on deck. And I agree, yes, we need mentorship, but most importantly, we need godfathers that understand the value of young people and also to support them to strive and grow while allowing them think independently and respecting their thoughts.
Let me ask Mr. Okonkwo that same question of mentoring before we take on some other issues. I'll still want to take you on, Mr. Lawal, on the regional peculiarity of young people everywhere. But Mr. Okonkwo, on this issue of mentorship for young people, what is your take? Do you think we even have it? Is this something that is necessary or important, given that the generational gap is there? Consequently, the generational complexities are also there.
Yes, I really like the word that Hamza used, which is intergenerational equity and dialogue. But there is a gap, and that gap has also been brought about by things like nepotism or favoritism. And it should not be so, because you have the opportunities for young men and women that can be mentored by the great leaders and politicians of our time and the past. But maybe because of lack of access, they're not able to get these privileges, they're not able to get these advantages which they can further use to transmit the message of youth involvement in politics. Now, we need to be able to shrink that gap. We need to be able to close that out and give opportunities to more of those that are not able to have perhaps a godfather or have a mentor. The thing about it is that I actually don't like to use the word godfatherism, because it seems as an entitlement. But of course, in this part of the world, that is the word that is used. But I would prefer in this case, that we, stick with the ideology of having a mentor, having someone that can be able to guide in, the proper things that can be done. And then, of course, we as a younger generation that has been given the, suitable education, that has gained some sort of experience, also those that have had business experience and success as well, they should be able to come into the political arena and have that dialogue with those that have been there, because sometimes, you find out that in order to know where we're going, we need to know where we're coming from. And a lot lot of people within our generation do not know some of the history in which has either embattled us or brought us to this position. So if we can know that from those that have been there, it is very, it's a better situation for the younger ones to be able to, prefer solutions, to be able to come up with ideas, to be able to even have more of an interest in participating in the political arena. So that idea of mentorship is very, very important, but we need to really close the gap and make things more accessible for those that are very much interested.
Well, you didn't seem to agree with Mr. Lawal the other time when he was talking about the experience of the older generation.
Well, so experience differs. Talking about experience, for me, because of my background, most of my mentors are people who have succeeded in their area of work. Now, when you look at Nigerian political setting, I always ask this question, and I've not gotten an answer. Can somebody recommend a politician in Nigeria that can mentor the young people? If you have, Kayode, Ayo, tell me.
Please hold off on that question. Let me bounce it off our other two guests, and I'd like us to be quite, interactive here. So, Hamzat, let me begin with you. Can you recommend for Mr. Anilaju any politician in Nigeria?
Yes, I can recommend a couple of politicians in Nigeria. And when you look at mentorship, the fact that people have failed in some time or they've disappointed you does not mean they cannot serve as mentors. I would say Governor Yahya Bello. I would say Saraki.
Hamzat, we can do this conversation behind the scenes. I just wanted to get your yes or no so we don't start name calling.
Yes.
But Mr. Okoko,
yes,
same for
yes.
you. Can you recommend, I don't want to say political godfather now, a political mentor for Mr. Anilaju? Is there anyone you know who has succeeded in the political sphere?
Oh, of course. There are actually so many actors that are in the political arena that have succeeded in being mentors to young politicians and young aspirants alike. One of them is my governor, Professor
Coming again, Mr. Okonko.
Yes.
Right, I saw that coming again. It's understandable, but I think that the young people might need to have a WhatsApp group after this. But let me come back to Mr. Anilaju in the studio. So, for them, they have people that they can recommend for you. In fact, they mentioned some names.
Well, one of them mentioned a name I can pick, and I don't think he's a mentor. He was one time the Senate president. There are cases of murder, thefts behind him. So I don't want to go there.
Proven and taken to court.
Yeah, my brother, I don't want to go there.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Essentially, I just wanted to hear from other young people.
Somebody.
Let's forget about the names. Just a second.
Yes.
Mr. Anilaju, let's not talk about the names. One of the values in what Mr. Lawal said is the fact that someone failed does not mean that they cannot mentor, because you can learn from their failure.
If you have failed and you agree genuinely, I have failed. Part of my failure experience, I want to train the next generation.
So if the person does not admit...
If you don't admit your failure, I don't know. I don't know. Like, you are somebody that is known for doing evil, and you are calling younger people for you to mentor them when you have not yet repented. Like, seriously, will you give your child to such person to mentor? But if the person come out openly and said, I did this wrong, I did this wrong, I said this wrong, I implemented this plan that didn't go out well, I want to guide the next generation so that they will not pass through they will not do the same mistake I made some years ago. Rather than them doing that, they are coming out to tell you that they want to run. Run to where now? What do you want to do for us now that you could not do 10 years ago? You could not do 5 years ago. In fact, there's even some that are even in the economic seats of this country. The country economy is going down. And you are coming out and you are telling us. You should be ashamed of yourself now.
Let me get this response to a tweet by Victor Owo on our Twitter handle. And this is what Victor has to say about the conversation we're having. And the question is, are the youths actually ready? I think not, according to him. Every pre-election year, these guys come on TV, talk, make threats sometimes, and still go back to support the elders they want not to rule. And his question essentially is, what derails them?
Number one, party. Party.
Do you belong to a political party now?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the truth about it is that SDP information was about 1994, 1996. Because I was still there, but we are among those who started PDP.
Are you talking about SDP Social Democratic Party?
Yes.
It was before 1993.
Okay. So I'm just trying to put it, even at that time, I was still a teenager. But we're doing the local campaign and the rest. Before PDP came up, I'm one of the founding members of PDP in Edo State. I've passed through like several parties. I could tell you, the problem is parties. And these old, incompetent politicians have a gimmicks of occupying the party structure. I just left PDP to New Nigeria People's Party. Why did I left PDP? PDP is asking us to bring 40 million for presidential fund, nomination fund. So how does PDP want me to carry my hard-earned 40 million and give to them? That 40 million, I can empower 4,000 young Nigerians.
Do you plan to campaign as a presidential aspirant?
My campaign would be, yes, my campaign is running on youth empowerment.
Are you spending money for campaign?
Yes, we're spending our money in empowering youth. From the 1st of May, as I speak with you right now, we have over 5,000 youth we are training to acquire skill. We have over 2,000 people who have volunteered to help us train them.
Isn't that enough government you're doing right now?
Because the truth about it, sir, for Nigeria to work today, we need at least 2 million young Nigerians that we dedicate, sacrifice their life to say, I am going to work the next 30 years of my life to see Nigeria working. If anybody comes to tell you, I will do this and do that, it will not work. What we need people that will be cut out. They are going to be like an army or a squad that will say, in this next 30 years of my life, this is what we are doing. And that is what I am doing currently.
Okay.
What I'm doing, I'm training the young Nigerians that will build a new Nigeria for us.
You know, I was going to ask how
skill.
you're raising the funds to do what you're doing.
Yeah, it's crowdfunding.
Okay, but you will not crowdfund to buy a ticket? Or
I will not crowdfund to buy a ticket, but I've some entrepreneurs, some of my former classmates have called me and told me that they are working out some modality to buy my nomination form. But
Okay.
I've said it. I will not put 40 million naira to buy nomination form. Now, let me even shock you. The party I went to now, New Nigeria People's Party, just announced to me some days ago that theirs is 40 million.
Okay.
That is 30 million.
Okay.
So that's sorry, I want you to learn. That's a
I'm
way
sorry,
of
we really don't
trying
have so much time,
Trying to
Mr.
push
Anilaju.
the young people with idea away from the party. So when
Okay.
you join the party, they come on with some ridiculous amount of nomination form.
Okay, all right, Mr. Anilaju, that also raises another issue, Mr. Lawal, of funding by the young people, or funds available or not to young people. There are those who contend that the demands, or rather the requirements for buying a form or being a part of the process it's a major inhibition for young people to get into politics. But that's where we find ourselves now.
Yes, sadly, money politics is the order of the day in Nigeria, and it's really sad and unfortunate. And I always say that if we want to enjoy the dividend of democracy, we must deliberately do away with money politics, where people can put their hats in the ring so they can serve and bring about those skills and capacity they have to move Nigeria forward. Sadly, yes, today we're playing money politics. And just to piggyback on the tweets that you read a few moments ago, I agree with the person who had brought this tweet forward. But again, my message to youths and young people is play politics. So you are there complaining that the older people, or rather the younger people, are voting for the older people. We would only vote for whoever the political party presents to us. Sadly, sometimes it's between the devil and the deep blue sea. And how do we come about these people? It is the party structure and the process. We need more youths and young people to take over the mantle of leadership from the ward level to the local government level and the state and to the national level. Delegates in political party would decide who becomes the flag bearer of the party. So if we don't join political party, if we don't play politics, if we don't become delegates in this political party, then we cannot complain when they bring to us other people for us to vote for. Yes, my colleagues will argue that we have other political party, but let's tell ourselves the truth. You know, let's be sincere to ourselves. Yes, we have multi-party system, but practically we only have two-party system in Nigeria. You know, we can argue from now till next week, but that is just the truth because these are the parties that have the structures and the popularity.
I think that's an indication that you might be joining one of those two political parties, but that's a conversation for another day. Let me take this to Mr. Okonkwo as we wrap up now. And I would like to finish with the words of Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka saying that in the last election, we asked the youth to mobilize and get a consensus candidate, capable, youthful, potentially effective leader, and present to us. They failed to do that, and I fear the same will happen this year. Do you agree?
I don't agree if it's done properly. We saw what happened in 2020, especially with the NSAS mobilization that was done by mostly youths. And truth of the matter, regardless of the unfortunate incident, the mobilization was done quite well, whereby the voices were heard. So if those same notions were used towards mobilizing youths in a proper way, galvanizing them, informing them of what they're getting into, and they're actively ready to participate and be involved, then I believe that it can be able to come up with a consensus candidates that will be able to step forward, carry on and carry forward the mantle of the youths, and then also, like I said earlier on, with some mentorship, with consultations, you know, from those that have already been in the political space, then we can be able to get things right. This effort is not just on the youths alone, but we need those who are our parents as well to come forward.
We have to run now. Really, our time is fast spent, but you know what they say, he who fights and runs lives to fight another day. So this conversation is far from over, but in the meantime, I'd like to thank you so much for your time. Uche Okonkwo, member of APGA. We've also had Hamzat Lawal, founder of Connected Development, who's into partisan politics, and finally, Victor Anilaju, former member of Social Democratic Party, now member of the new Nigerian People's Party. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Well, that's where we anchor today on the program. We'd like to thank you so much for sending in your comments. I'm sorry we weren't able to take all of them, but we'll do in due course. I'm Kayode Okikulu.
I'm Ayo Makinde. Have a wonderful day.